Hey guys, I am Nishant and welcome to Cybernatico. In this video, let's try to solve some interview questions from JavaScript. So our first question is this. We have a let variable from 0 to 3, I mean less than 3, and getting incremented. Then we have a set timeout here. So what will be the output in this case? You can guess, pause the video. Now, if I save this, we will get 0, 1 and 2. Fine, simple question. But if I change this to var, what will be the output in this case? Pause the video and think. Now, let me save this and see what will be the output. So, in the var, we will get 3, 3 and 3. So, why is that? This is because this var is a variable or a type of declaration which is function scoped, but this let is block scoped. I mean, in this let variable, this will run inside this block. So let me explain what's happening here. For the let me write it here. So what will happen is let will be 0 initially, I mean I will be 0. So we can say this. Initial value of I is 0. Fine. Now this will be now 1. So now I will be 1. I equal to 1. In the next case, I will be 2. Now this will not run because I is 2 and it's getting checked here that if I is 2 or if I is less than 3, return it or run this only till then. So we'll get all of these 3, 0, 1 and 2. I think you got it. But in this case, in the function scope or whatever you want to call it, scope or scoped, we can say this. We have I which is getting initialized by 0 because we are using var. So I is 0 initially, then it's getting incremented. So I is now 1. Now in the next loop, I will be 2. In the third loop, I will be 3. Fine. Because 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3. Fine. But now I is less than 3. I mean till this. And only then this set timeout function will run. Now what will happen is, we will encounter this thing and it will print out all of these 3. But you see, we have a set timeout function here. It means this is a macro function, sorry, not macro. So macro function is a function that runs when one event loop is completed or when other macro functions are done completing or executing. So it will see that I is 3. So that's why it will print 3 times because it's a function scoped and it only gets referenced. Fine. So this was the difference between let I is 0 and let var is 0 and these two questions. So basically this were two questions, not just one, but I showed you two at one time. Now let me comment this and move to our third question. So third question is this. Let me get it from here and let's print it here. So this one is our third question. So our third question is this. So basically we have 4 promises which are resolve, reject and resolve. Then in the function we are calling Promise.all to resolve this promise 1 and 2 and in this 3 and 4. In res1 we have promise 1 and 2 in Promise.all, and you see in second res we have 3 and 4. So what will be the output of this question? Promise.all all. So pause the video and you can think about it. So if we save this, let's see what we get. We will get third here, this third reject statement. Why is that? Because when we run Promise.all on this, I mean let me do this. we can just comment out this and remove res1 from here. If I save this, we will still get third here, because currently we're only calling promise 3 and 4 in promise.all. This is because this will reject the promise or return the error statement if even if only one promise it is getting rejected. So let me explain this to you, or let me show you. So promise.all reject. So let me open this and I will show you the statement. So you will see this in any of the past and promise reject, promise.all will reject the value of all the promises that rejected, whether or not other promise have been settled. Wait a second, this was it or something else? Let me check. Yes, see this thing, promise.all will reject immediately upon any of the input promises rejecting. So in this case, this third promise is getting rejected. That's why we are getting third here, because this is a rejection statement. Make this as resolve and let's see what we get. So we'll get two arrays. In first, we are getting first and second in this one, and in res2 we are getting third and fourth. So if we make this reject, we will get reject in third, because if any of the statements are getting rejected, we will only get that one, even if others are getting resolved. This was third question, I think. Yes. And the next question is this. We have an object here called object, which contains all of these properties. We have to flatten it in the function. So I have a function here which takes an object and a parent. So initially the parent will be an empty string because we don't have a parent here. So we have object and parent. So let's start the logic of flattening it. So flattening means company we have a parent, it will be like all of these things printed as it is, but in places or a nested object we will print places.kathmandu.pokhara and this with the value here. So let's start the logic for this. So first of all, we will create a final object. So let's say create a final object and let's return it here. So initially this will be empty because this contains nothing. Now what we will do is we will have a function inside this function called flatten, which will be const, let's say flatten obj or object. It will be an arrow function. Let's make it like this. Fine. This will take two params, which is object and the parent. We'll get. So now let's call the function and pass this to object and parent. So you know how it will work. These two will come up here in the params, and we have to add our operation and do our operation on these things, object and parent, to flatten the object, this object. So we can say, we can have a for loop first. So for, we will loop through this object. So we can say let key in object, then inside we will have a new parent. Let's say const parent equals, but this will not work because we already have parent. So let's say new parent. Inside this new parent, we will add parent, which is this parent, and we will append the key like this. So we have a new parent. For example, let's say we have this parent here called places. Plus key means places.kathmandu, Pokhara, and all these things that we have inside. Fine. Then we will add a new variable called value, which will contain our value. So we can say object.key. So object inside we have a key. It means these values, Kathmandu, Pokhara, and Sarangkot. We have two things, object, key, I mean the new parent, and the value. Now what we will do is we will check if the type of value is object, type of value, if it is object, it means we need to go further into that array object, sorry, not array, object, and again call the function called flatten object. So we will pass two things, which is the value, I mean the new object. See this object, our new object is the value, which is this. We will pass this with the new parent, which is new parent. We will also have to add a dot to print it using dot, I mean places.kathmandu.pokhara and .sarangcode. So we can do this we can do, and just add a dot here after this. Fine. But if the value is not, I mean type of value is not object, we will simply return the final object, which is the final object. So we can say final object or obj new parent equals to value. So we will store the last value, if it is not iterable, inside this final object, I mean if it is not an object. So that's all for now. Let's save and check what we will get. So we will get all of these. So we have address Nepal, the base level, we have contact, and in places we have .kathmandu, .pokhara, .sarangcode. So this is the method to flatten an array. Sorry, not an array, flatten an object. So that's all for now, and these were the questions or output based questions that the interviewer asked me. So make sure to like the video and subscribe my channel for more videos like this one. Bye bye.